Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a question I get asked all the time. Which laptop should I buy? With so many options out there, it can feel overwhelming. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll be a laptop buying pro. We're going to break down everything you need to know, from processors and graphics cards to screens and keyboards, so you can find the perfect machine for your needs and your budget. Let's get started. First things first, let's talk about the brain of the computer, the processor, or CPU. This is probably the most important component, as it determines the overall speed and performance of your laptop. You'll mainly see two brands, Intel and AMD. Over on the AMD side, you have Ryzen 3, 5, 7, and 9, which correspond pretty closely to Intel's lineup. A Ryzen 5 is a fantastic all-rounder, often offering great value for money, perfect for students and general productivity. Ryzen 7 steps it up for more demanding tasks, competing with the Core i7, and the Ryzen 9 is their top-tier chip for ultimate performance. When looking at processor names, you'll also see letters like U for ultra-low power, which means better battery life, and H for high performance, which you'll find in gaming and workstation laptops. So, for everyday use, an Intel Core i5 or an AMD Ryzen 5 is your best bet. Next up, let's talk about memory, or RAM. Think of RAM as your computer's short-term memory. It's where your laptop holds all the apps and files you're currently working on. The more RAM you have, the more things you can do at once without your computer slowing down. For 2026, I would say 8 GB is the absolute minimum. This is enough for web browsing, streaming, and light office work. However, if you can, I highly recommend going for 16 GB. It's the new standard and will give you a much smoother experience, especially if you like having a lot of browser tabs open or you're running multiple programs at once. For content creators, gamers, or engineers, 32 GB or even more might be necessary. But for most people, 16 GB is the perfect amount. Now, let's move on to storage. This is where all your files, applications, and your operating system are stored permanently. These days, you should only be looking at laptops with a solid-state drive, or SSD. They are way faster than old-school hard disk drives, or HDDs. An SSD means your laptop will boot up in seconds, apps will launch instantly, and everything will just feel snappy. In terms of size, 256 GB is a starting point, but it can fill up quickly. I'd recommend at least 512 GB to comfortably store your files and programs without constantly worrying about space. If you work with large files like videos or have a big game library, 1 TB or more is a wise investment. Some laptops even have a slot for a second drive, so you can add more storage later on. Alright, let's talk about something exciting, the graphics card, or GPU. This is what creates the images you see on your screen. For most people doing everyday tasks, the graphics that are built into the CPU, called integrated graphics, are perfectly fine. Both Intel's Iris Xe and AMD's Radeon graphics are great for watching 4K video and even some very light gaming. However, if you want to play modern games, do serious video editing, 3D modeling, or other graphically intensive work, you'll need a dedicated, or discrete, graphics card. The main players here are NVIDIA with their GeForce line and AMD with their Radeon line. For NVIDIA, you'll see names like RTX 4050, 4060, 4070, and so on. An RTX 4050 is a great entry point for 108OP gaming. The RTX 4060 is a fantastic mid-range card that can handle most games at high settings. If you're a serious gamer or a creative professional, you'll want to look at an RTX 4070 or higher for the best performance, especially if you have a high-resolution display. AMD's lineup is also very competitive. The key is to look at reviews and benchmarks for the specific games or applications you use to see how these different cards perform. Remember, a more powerful GPU will often mean less battery life and more heat, so it's a trade-off. Of course, a great GPU isn't much use without a great display. The screen is how you interact with your laptop, so it's incredibly important. First, the size. Laptops typically range from 13 inches to 17 inches. 13 or 14-inch laptops are super portable and great for people on the go. 15-inch laptops are the most common, offering a good balance of screen space and portability. 17-inch laptops are more of a desktop replacement, perfect for gaming or creative work where a large screen is a priority. Next, resolution. I would not recommend anything less than Full HD, which is 1920 by 1080 pixels. This gives you a sharp and clear image. Many premium laptops now offer QHD or even 4K resolutions, which are even sharper but will use more battery. For most people, Full HD is plenty. Another thing to look at is the refresh rate, measured in Hz. Standard screens are 60 Hz, but gaming laptops will have 120, 144, or even higher refresh rates. This makes motion on screen look incredibly smooth, which is a huge advantage in fast-paced games. Finally, look at brightness and color accuracy. If you work with photos or videos, a screen that covers 100% of the sRGB color gamut is a must. Now, let's think about who you are and what you'll be doing. If you're a student or a professional who's always on the move, your priorities are portability and battery life. Look for a laptop that's lightweight, under 3.5 pounds or about 1.5 kilograms, with a 13 or 14-inch screen. Check reviews for real-world battery life. You want a machine that can last a full day of classes or meetings without you needing to hunt for a power outlet. Ultrabooks like a Dell XPS 13, an HP Spectre, or a MacBook Air are fantastic choices here. They are thin, light, powerful enough for productivity, and have excellent battery life. The keyboard and trackpad are also crucial, so if you can, try them out in a store before you buy. What if you're a gamer? Well, your priorities shift. Performance is king. You'll be looking for a laptop with a high-performance H-series CPU from Intel or AMD, and of course, a powerful dedicated graphics card is non-negotiable. An NVIDIA RTX 4060 or better is a good target for a great gaming experience. You'll also want at least 16 GB of RAM and a fast SSD with plenty of space for your games. The display is also critical. Look for a high refresh rate screen, at least 120 Hz, to make your games look buttery smooth. Gaming laptops also need good cooling systems to handle the heat from those powerful components, so check reviews on thermal performance. Brands like Asus ROG, Razer, and Alienware specialize in this category. For the creative professionals out there, video editors, graphic designers, photographers, you need a blend of power and precision. A powerful CPU like a Core i7, i9, or Ryzen 7 9th is essential for fast rendering and processing times. You'll also need a strong dedicated GPU, and RAM is huge here. 32 GB is a good starting point for serious 4K video editing. But the most important component for you is probably the display. You need a screen with exceptional color accuracy. Look for specs like 100% sRGB, and for more professional work, high coverage of the Adobe RGB or DCI-P3 color spaces. A high-resolution 4K screen can also be very beneficial for seeing all the detail in your work. The MacBook Pro is a classic choice for creatives, but Windows machines like the Dell XPS 15 or the Razer Blade Studio are also incredible options. Finally, don't forget about the physical aspects of the laptop. The build quality matters. A laptop with a metal chassis will feel more premium and durable than an all-plastic one. The keyboard is how you'll type every single day, so make sure it's comfortable and responsive, and the trackpad should be smooth and accurate. Also, check the ports. Do you need USB-A ports for older devices, or are you all in on USB-C? Do you need an HDMI port for connecting to an external monitor, or an SD card reader for your camera? Make sure the laptop you choose has the connectivity you need, or be prepared to buy some dongles. Well, that was a lot of information, but hopefully you now have a much clearer idea of what to look for when you're buying your next laptop. The key is to first identify your primary use case. Are you a student, a gamer, a creative, or just need a great all-rounder? Then, prioritize the components that matter most for that use case. A student might prioritize battery life and portability, while a gamer will focus on the GPU and refresh rate. Always check recent reviews for real-world performance and battery tests. Don't just rely on the spec sheet. Taking the time to do your research will ensure you end up with a machine you'll love for years to come. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this guide was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more tech guides like this one. See you in the next video.